make a deal with God, and I get him to swap our places. Be running up that road, be running up.
Hello everyone, how are you today? I am now excited to share with you what I have been posting lately, one of the meaningful activities that I created recently for the application of the topics or lessons in trends, networks, and critical thinking in the 21st century. All right, but first, let me introduce to you what are the topics that I have been discussing with them first during the ADM activities of time last November 25. I introduced to them the activities that they would need to accomplish and send to me online, providing various or at least 5 daily activities with the application of or the effects or showing the effects of globalization. That was just an introduction, but since it was an offline assignment and homework, so I could not guarantee that they can learn much from that activity, but they can start writing their answers for that and proceed to our discussions. But most of them would actually look for answers from the internet, so it's really not that effective when it comes to delivery. So I really have to discuss that face to face. So when we get back to class, I started discussing with them that globalization thing, the 10 types of globalization, as well as the review on some of the parts that we missed or they have probably forgot because of that during that suspension of classes. And I also connected the application of intuitive thinking and strategic analysis, as well as how social networks works and understanding different parts in understanding the whole concept. So what's the importance of that? In the form of a meaningful integration of one of the famous series in Netflix right now, Stranger Things. I store with my students before picking the seasons that I will be sharing with them, and only two of them among the two classes was able or were able to see some parts of the season. Like one students expressed that he has seen or he was able to see season one of Stranger Things, and the other one was able to watch season two and some part of season three, but kind of forgot about it. Well, the rest really didn't have any idea. So last time I've shown to you the booklet in the form of my vlog. Now I can now share with you what's the content inside this Stranger Things activities that I created as an application where my students can really apply what they have learned or so far the learning objectives of this lesson. So I have type here my love letter to them to introduce what this is all about. They will need to read, and I divided the activities into 4 parts. Part one should be conducted before viewing the film, Stranger Things season 3, and part two they will need to see first the series of episodes and get one examples from the film, so they will be able to apply who among the characters have showcased this intuitive thinking and strategic analysis, and they will need to flip the book for that until they can read this welcome sign, welcome tokens. So that's really one of the things I like for Stranger Things. There's what you call this idea of going to the upside down. After which they will need to flip the pages for part two. So for the part two case, they will need to pick one scene from any of the episodes in the film in Stranger Things season 3 and write the cause of a certain phenomenon or event and what are the effects, and proceed to the part two. So we're actually halfway through the film. One classes was able to watch 6 episode out of 8, so they really have a lot of ideas what's going on in the film. The second question is they will need to pick one character from the film that showcase intuitive thinking. So they will need to tell me the name, write it here on the spaces provided in the booklet. And on the third example or third question is an example of someone who showcases strategic analysis. Who is that and how did the character showcase that kind of ability. The number four question in part two is example of globalization or global influence shown in the story. So this is really based from the film. Then we haven't finished part three, which is all about writing tasks, which we will be doing in the next meeting, and as well as the part four, wherein they will need to pick at least six elements from the form, create systems mapping. So what I have here for the learning objective, so that you will get to understand how I come up with this activity sheets and what I am trying to meet by simply letting my students do this or accomplish this activity. So I have here five lesson objectives. By the end of the lesson, students will be able to identify and describe the different parts of a whole within a real or fictional system like social groups, organizations, networks. The second one is to differentiate intuitive thinking from strategic analysis based on characters, actions, decisions in the film. The third one is to analyze cause and effect relationships within the narrative to determine how small events escalate into major consequences. The fourth one is to explain how globalization influences events, interactions, and conflicts shown in the series. While the fifth and the last one is to apply their critical thinking frameworks to evaluate decisions made by characters and propose improve alternatives. We kind of admit that developing critical thinking skills among the students is kind of challenging nowadays for these youngsters. So you, as a teacher, need to think of interesting activity wherein they can apply their critical thinking skills. For the previewing activity, so this is before watching the film. I have written here title of the activity is to act fast or think first. So basically, this calls for a scenario or decisions wherein they will need to practically think what would be the reaction whenever they encounter a scenario like the scenario case one here for the flickering lights. Second one is a friend acting strange. They will need to fill in and complete the phrase for intuitive thinking application and strategic thinking, as well as scenario 3, the abandoned mall elevator. Scenario 4, unusual noise in the storage room. And the fifth scenario is a message that doesn't make sense. So without them knowing that they will be able to encounter these scenarios along the way after watching some of the episodes already. So this is kind of exciting already. So we're meeting most of the um, best outcomes of this. So they will need to show the interconnectedness of peoples and nation. I need to explain and demonstrate to them the benefits of collaboration and cooperation that are being showcased by our group of main characters in the film. So how their decisions, how they crack the case of the losing magnetism of magnets from Joy's fridge, what's this large machine is all about, what's causing it, explain and demonstrates the benefits of cooperation, identify and discuss the different contribution of the parts to a whole. So we had that in the previous discussion, and I also need to stress the important role of creative imagination and putting together the various parts of a whole, and they will need to create the systems mapping on part 4. So amat-amat lang. So that's all I can share. I hope you find this meaningful, and along the way, you will be able to develop your own teacher-made activity that is suited to the type of students or learners that you will have. That's all. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good one.